Okay, so in this test we've got a 4 metre length of the ZRL flex conduit, and we've set it up with the tension wires with no tension initially, but we have pre-stretched the Parker hose about 12 centimetres over 4 metres, so that's about a 3% stretch in the hose and preload. So I think even with it loose, with no pressure in it, we see we've got some stiffness there just from stretching the Parker hose at 3%. So now we'll put some pressure on it and we'll bring it up to 90 megapascals, and we'll have a look at what happens to the hose stiffness. At 90 megapascals now, and you can see that's quite stiff for that first metre up the pipe. And I'll just drop the pressure off now.
Okay.
Okay, so that was with 3% hose stretch as a preload factor. We know from our experience with TRD that we can stretch the hoses over 6% to preload them, and that will increase the amount of tension in the hose once it's pressurized, which will affect the stiffness of the spring. So I think that's been a really good demonstration of an alternative for generating some stiffness in the ZRL conduit without relying on the cables. The cables may still play a role for aiding in the retraction of the hose if it gets stuck, and enables you to pull on the cables rather than stretching the hose even more. So, but that remains to be seen. So that's been a good experiment. This is the 50-foot hose assembly. You can see we've already pre-tensioned the hose, not the cables, but the hose is pre-tensioned 3%. You see it's not exactly straight if I lay it down here. And that is really just because there's corrosion built up on the in between some of the spring layers, and it's causing it to just have a bit of a bend in it. But I think if it was clean, it would be straight. So let's go into the workshop now and have a look at how we've pre-tensioned this. Okay, so we've got the end of it clamped in the vise here, and I've got a chain block here, and this is the high pressure hose is screwed into this connection point here. You can see the hose assembly is there. So this is under tension at the moment. I've used the chain block to stretch the hose out. Now I've stretched this hose 450 millimeters from its start point. And as I did that, I had to sort of go along the hose and shake it out to make sure that all of the hose was coming out. So you can see there's no tension in the cables. And what we'll do now is we'll just space out the cables so that they're about right. And then we can preload them just lightly. So now I'll wind the cables out, the cable preloader out. I'm just going to lightly do that, and it'll just take up here on this gap here. And once that's taken up, we can say then that it'll carry all of the preload. Okay, so that's just touching there now. Now I'm in a position where I can release the chain block and the hose will stay in tension. And the cables are very lightly tensioned. So that'll be the next thing I do.